two things becomes very, very much visible. There is, of course, a notion of ritual impurity associated with menstruation across the world. In Abrahamic religions, that is, especially in Christianity and Islam, this notion of ritual impurity becomes reformulated as a notion of moral degradedness. And before this Isopanishad came, a short booklet called Samanya Dharm was published. It condenses the very basic tenets of Dharma. So that is the means to attain a real happiness, real contentment. For the Smritis or law books, Smritis are biblical commandments. They are Abrahamic, they are this, they are that, they are historical documents. See, all these arguments come because of lack of understanding about themselves or saying about what they are.
Namaste, Bhakto. Welcome to the Bhakt Charitra. It's a Bhaktsdotcom podcast. This is not just a show, it's a sacred space where we bring forth voices that merely believe in Sanatan Dharm, but actually live by these values and work to protect our society, culture, and nation, both from within and without. It's a platform for those who embody Dharma in thought, word, and action, individuals who defend our civilization values, not just in headlines, but in everyday life. So, my first interaction with our today's guest, Mr. Nithin Sridhar, happened through Bhakts.com Twitter account. Nithin ji has done a lot of good literary work, which we should know, which we should understand what he is doing, and what kind of awareness he wants to create in the public, especially the youth. Mr. Nathan, please welcome to the podcast. And I would request to kindly introduce yourself, whatever you like to share.
Okay, thank you, Himanshuji. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm very glad to be here and glad to share about my life and work. To begin with, I'm based in Mysuru, Karnataka, and I'm currently working as director of Indica Center for Moksha Studies, which is a vertical of Indica Academy. It is an organization working for Indian knowledge systems. Apart from my work, along with it, I'm also an author. I have written around subjects related to Sanatana Dharma. So, Hindu Dharma has been my area of interest of research, study, practice, immersion, everything. This is a bit about what I'm currently doing and where I'm based.
So, before moving to our main topics, I would like to know. I mean, you have mentioned that your main focus is Hindu Sanatan Dharma. So, like it was from childhood, your inclination and your upbringing happened in such a family where you these values imbibed in you from childhood. So, we just like to know a little bit about your family influence.
If I have to say, from very small child, I had great curiosity to know many things, and there was a very conductive environment that did not stop me from pursuing any form of intellectual or creative quest, so to speak. My family, my parents, and I have two elder sisters, and I would say we are a typical middle class Hindu family. Uh, Not too much of practitioners, but neither disbelievers, neither agnostics.
Mhm.
So early childhood, I have seen my mother lighting a lamp every evening. As we celebrated festivals such as Ganapati, Ganesh Chaturthi, Deepavali, Shivaratri, Sankranti, Ugadi, all at home in South Indian, in a typical South Indian household manner. But other than that, and my grandfather was a Purohita. But other than that, there was not much exposure, particularly to Adhyatma or Dharma per se. But as happens in many families, the family environment imbibes certain values certain ideas to you, which you see and grow on your own. Uh, but if I have to pinpoint my journey and how a deeper interest happened, perhaps I think it started in a very reverse manner, so to speak. When I was in higher primary or high school, um, somebody gifted me a book called Sophie's World, which was written for a teenager, introducing Western philosophy, starting from Socrates to Plato, Descartes, and all those people. So that kind of was the beginning point, I would say, of a philosophical journey. A deeper journey into philosophical questions. So that journey initially led me to kind of reject the ritualistic aspect of Hindu Dharma, or rather, I think I I did not receive answers to certain questions, so which made me kind of an atheist for a period of time. At least in my mind, it was so at that time. But one thing was clear, as I mentioned, I have always been very curious. I have always been a seeker, open to questions, open to pursue the answers to the question and revise those answers as my understanding developed. So this ensured that I did not become stuck in a place. I did not become stuck being an atheist, for example, because the journey continued from a Western philosophical understanding. I came to a point when I realized that while Western philosophies are essentially philosophies in the sense of speculations of different human mind, different people, some very very good ideas, very deep ideas, but essentially they are speculations. Contrary to that, our Sanatana Dharma has a more firm foundation. It is founded on Shabda Pramana, on the Veda, on the Srutis, on the Ityasa Puranas, on the Arsha Jnana, the knowledge they have received from the rishis. So it is no longer a speculation.
Yeah.
There is a lot of scope for journey seeking and scope for personal development, personal understanding, and also speculation, definitely, and imagination, speculation. All those spaces there in the Hindu worldview. But essentially, the knowledge is more firm-footed in the Shabda Pramana, as far as the Adhyatmic, the spiritual knowledge, dharmic knowledge is concerned. They are more sure-footed, more firm-footed in the Shabda Pramana. This is something which is missing in the Western philosophy, a non-Christian Western philosophy. I could perhaps add, because Christianity roots everything in Bible, but then that leads to a different kind of problems than what we are discussing. And that was one part of the journey. The other part of the journey is, of course, from being an atheist to realizing that our civilization is under threat. Realizing, I think this happened perhaps when I was in my 11th or 12th. I came across certain images of the Godhra train burning of children and women, and so a realization struck me that irrespective of our beliefs, whether theist, atheist, agnostic, or whatever, for the enemy we are a Hindu. So that idea, that understanding has stayed with me till now, and it will stay with me for all my life. So that was the first realization of kind of say my Hindu identity, and the rest was further, more further discovery, more further inquiry. What exactly is this identity? Exactly does it mean to be a Hindu? Is it merely a political identity? Is it Are there a deeper philosophical, spiritual meaning to this? Is there a ritualistic meaning to this? What makes a Hindu a Hindu? What makes the term Hindu meaningful? Because anybody can be an atheist, anybody can advocate a political identity or a political system, or anybody can be a reformist. But none of them essentially necessarily make a person a Hindu. So my life journey has been, in some extent, a pursuit of this, uh, not always consciously, many times unconsciously also, pursuit of this understanding of what makes a Hindu, what is it at the very heart of what we call as Sanatana Dharma, what is it Dharma itself, what is its meaning, what is its heart, what does it, how does it manifest on the ground in the practice, individual level, social level, cosmic level, however you say. So I would say, as I see it, my life journey has been inseparable from my intellectual, philosophical, and spiritual seeking, uh, which has gone through from perhaps being an atheist at one point of time to doing a sort of garbhapsi, if I could use the term, to first at a political identity, understanding my own political identity, but then deeper into our spiritual roots, our dharmic roots, the Adhyatmic roots as a practitioner. And if you see some of, I think in Twitter and other places, um, the bio reads as a practicing Hindu. So I have used that phrase very carefully because I don't consider myself a purely a political Hindu, but as somebody who has uh, great respect, great immersed in the practice of Hindu Dharma in one way or the other way, and which I consider to be the core, the practice of anchoring in Dharma and Adhyatma.
I think lastly what you said, I think a better term can be seeker. Like you are now as a seeker who is looking into it, and I think that's how Sanatan Dharma is. Ki everybody since ages they say ki I'm just learning, I'm just seeking, and still it's such a vast ocean that nobody can, you know, touch the ground and understand everything. So it's always just looking into it. So yeah, very true, and I think very impressive. Ki from a very common practicing Hindus, then you went towards the philosophies of West, and then I think you found something which is missing there. I mean, that may be the only reason that you came back to darshan and then you understood. So I would like to I mean, as like you have mentioned that you are director of the Indica Moksha, so I would request ki first of all please explain our viewers ki what is Indica Moksha.
Okay, Indica Moksha or Indica Center for Moksha Studies is one of the centers of Indica Academy. And as I mentioned in the beginning, Indica Academy is founded by Sri Harikiran Vadlamaniji, who's based in Hyderabad and Singapore. And the vision is, we as an organization, we are working for the promotion, the protection, and preservation of Indian knowledge systems. So towards this end, we have many centers and many platforms, and which are each of which is dedicated to one particular aspect of this Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. We have centers such as Indica Center for Yoga, which is focuses on yoga, the Yoga Shastra, yoga practice, and the whole thing. Uh, we have platforms such as Indica Today, which is about the online magazine journal for publication on Indic content. So, likewise, we have a book publishing aspect platform. We have Center for courses, which provide authentic content on Indian knowledge system on through online mode. A very comprehensive courses. I have myself taught two or three courses there, and then we have this the center that I am heading as the director, which is Indica Center for Moksha Studies, which we call as Indica Moksha. The evolution of this Indica Moksha initially happened as Advaita Academy. It was founded back in 2010 as Advaita Academy, and now it has grown to a much larger focus as Center for Moksha Studies. And the focus of this center is to provide authentic knowledge on our Adhyatmic teachings, especially centered upon the Vedantic path, centered upon the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the core text of our Sanatana Dharma. Uh, and we have a YouTube channel called Advaita Academy, which has more than 10,000 videos on different Upanishads, different Gita, the Bhagavad Gita by different teachers. We have videos on the Darshanas. We have videos on Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and other Darshanas as well. And we have more than 1,000 videos teaching Sanskrit. So anybody who wants to learn Samskrita, they can freely access these videos on our channel. And we regularly conduct, we do a lot of events, a lot of activities. We do Weekend with Wisdom, which is a weekend online talk series wherein we invite some scholar and speaker to shed light on one aspect of our Sanatana Dharma. And we have interviews every year during Shankaracharya Jayanti. We do for the last 5 years. We have been doing 1 month long online festival called Global Oneness Festival, Global Festival of Oneness, which is basically celebrating Shankaracharya's life, legacy, and his teachings and contributions to us. So it's a 1 month long celebration wherein we organize talks every day, morning and evening, uh, to disseminate this Jnana Parampara, this Vedanta Jnana to all the audience, to one and all. All our videos are freely available. We do symposiums. We have organized scholarly symposiums and invited traditional Vidwans as well as modern trained academics to dwell upon various important Shastriya matters related to, again, IKS. So we also do retreats and all more focused and immersive learning under a Adhyatma Guru, under a Swami or Swami, another Vidwan. So all these activities basically what we are trying to do is uh, we have a lot of seekers seeking authentic knowledge, and we have a lot of authentic teachers also who are teaching it, but we are acting as a platform to connect them. So either in an active manner or in a passive manner, the idea is to be act as a independent platform wherein we bring in teachers from different sampradayas, different um, uh, schools of thought, and provide them a platform to share that knowledge, share classes on their various texts, so that sincere seekers, sincere students have a place where they can rely upon to anchor themselves and to further their own spiritual journey.
So, I mean, it's quite wide area where Indica Moksha is working, and YouTube, I think, is one only way of disseminating the information. Like in your institutions, it's different. Like you have talks, you have classes, and you have print books. But for the general public, if they want to understand about Sanatan Dharm, they want to learn and they want some authentic sources, so is it only YouTube channel or there are other ways also like Facebook, Twitter, or some other ways?
Our video content is on YouTube, but as I said, Indica per se, we also publish books. We have published many books on Vedanta also, on Sanatana Dharma also. So interested can check those as well. But our Indica Moksha's activities focused on video format, online format, as well as conducting more immersive retreats and all, which are in-person events and not the online events. So both online and offline, we are focusing currently.
Quite great. So I think if anybody searches on YouTube Indica Moksha, they will get your channel simply.
Yes, the channel name is Advaita Academy,
Advait.
and yeah.
Okay. we will anyway put the link in the this video, so people can go to the authentic content. This is actually very much required on YouTube, where lot of information is posted, and there is no validation whether this is correct or wrong information. So I think channels like Indica Moksha, Advaita Academy, they are required that people go to a proper validated sources and they understand. Otherwise, mostly, some people, they learn one or two books and then they start making videos, and they are most viral, and then we divert from the main context, and that's how the itihas becomes mythology. So now we will come to your literary part. I understand ki you are also an author, and you are writing in particular some topics and niche, I would say. So we would like to know ki, what are your main topics and why you have chosen those topics.
Um, Again, my writing output has been kind of a part of my own intellectual and spiritual journey. So it has been a companion, and writing is one skill that I think came pretty naturally to me. Of course, I have had to, the more you do something, the more better you get. So that is always there. But for me, the writing has always been a medium to express my own understanding. I remember the first blog I wrote was, I think, perhaps 20 years back. uh, it was some random blog, some immature blog I wrote. But even then, I remember that the very first blog was also on the topic, something related to Hindu Dharma only. So one of the first blogs I wrote was on Bhagwan Rama. So all these very very short writings, that were the baby steps, I would say, the blogging. And later I started my own blogs. I have two blogs. One is called Erudition. It's on nithinsridhar.blogspot.com. It's a very old blog. I no longer publish anything there, but very old writings are there. The currently active blog is called as Understanding Hinduism, which is in WordPress, nithinsridhar.wordpress.com, wherein I put my random thoughts and reflections on related to Hindu Dharma. Many of these blogs have been on Manusmriti, have been on Vedanta, and various other happenings perhaps in society. Any thoughts, any comment, any reflection? But coming to serious writing, of course, I have always believed that blogging cannot be the end of everything, and there is a need for exploring other formats. Uh, Even I think around 15, 20 years back, when I was studying in my graduation, I was studying civil engineering. Even then, I used to write columns for newspapers such as Pioneer, and some online portals, Ivarta, Vijayavani, etc. And I have continued to do that off and on when the time permits. I have published in Pragyata, in Indica Today magazine, and I think in Swarajya and some other places. Uh, but of course, nowadays, in the last few years, my focus has shifted to more careful and deeper study and publication of my research as in the format of books. So my first book came out, I think, back in 2015. Um, it was titled Musings on Hinduism. It was basically a collection of my writings, the writings which were done, I think, between 2006 or 8 and 2012 or 13. So some 5 to 6 years of worth of some blogs and other articles, I just put them into a book. So that was a very simple book called Musings on Hinduism. After that, proper way, if I have to speak, the first book after this Musings on Hinduism was the Menstruation Across Cultures. The full title is Shabarimala Confusion, the Menstruation Across Cultures, the Historical Perspective. Uh, this is a this is a kind of a semi-academic book. What I mean by semi-academic is it is an academic work, but the language and the presentation is also such that it is for the lay audience as well. So there is not much academic jargons and all. It is written in simple language. So it was very appreciated. It was written in the backdrop of the Shabarimala controversy that happened. And one of the underlying discourse in the controversy was that Hindu Dharma looks down upon women, degrades women because of menstruation, because women undergo this monthly periods. It looks down upon these periods and therefore upon women itself. So I found this topic very intriguing. I found, is it really true? Is it that's the curiosity, as I mentioned, and so I took upon research, and it ended up in the form of these books and several articles. I had written a series of articles called Hindu Views on Menstruation in Indefects and several others pieces. But basically, everything culminated in that book. Since 2012, my uh, personal spiritual reading became focused a bit more on Vedanta and Upanishads, and I had studied Isopanishad in quite detail for a year or two, and as a result of that, partly mainly to clarify my own understanding, I had started writing a commentary on Ishavasya Upanishad, a modern contemporary commentary, but rooted in a Sampradayika understanding. So I had written halfway through it in 2012, 2013, and later again I wrote it in 2016 to 2018, and finally it came out in 2021. And before this Ishopanishad came, a short booklet called Samanya Dharma was published. It was, I think, in 2008,
Samanya
1920.
Dharm, you said.
Yes, Samanya Dharma.
Okay.
The full title was Samanya Dharma, the ethical tenets common to all, or something like that. That is the full title of the book.
Okay.
So that book actually, after Menstruation Across Cultures, Samanya Dharma book had come, and later the Isopanishad came. The Samanya Dharma was a very small volume. You can literally finish the book in a single sitting, say of 90 minutes or 100 minutes. It in a single sitting you can finish it. Though it is a very thin volume, it condenses 1,000 years teaching, you could say, or 2,000 years teaching. It condenses the very basic tenets of Dharma that anybody and everybody, irrespective of their gender, ethnicity, nationality, or any other kind of specialized identity, anybody and everybody across the world can practice, and if they want to lead a happy life and meaningful life, they have to practice. So that is the means to attain a real happiness, real contentment. So after in 2020, on the Vijayadashmi day, I started working on my latest book, that is the Chatuh Shloki Manusmriti, a commentary, an English commentary, which got finally published in this year in April. So the new book is a journey of 5 years, I would say. Chatuh Shloki Manusmriti only deals with the opening four verses of Manusmriti, but the text itself has more than 2,600 verses. So many have asked me why four verses, what is its use, and is there can we even understand anything with only four verses? The fact is, the opening four verses are very very important because they act as a gateway to understand not only the rest of the Manusmriti, but the rest of the Dharmaśāstra tradition itself. So they contain within themselves what is in the Shastriya language called as Anubandha Chatushtaya. That is, it tells us about four important aspects about uh, what is the purpose of the text, what is the subject matter dealt in the text, what is the connection between the text and the subject matter, what is the end result of studying the text, and who is the competent person to study the text or to get benefit out of the text, or who is the competent to teach the text. These are all very, very fundamental questions. The very fundamental questions are, that is, what is the subject matter of Manusmriti? The subject matter is Dharma. So the question is, what is Dharma? Unless you understand that, we will always be, nowadays we have all these discourses. Oh, the Smritis are law books, Smritis are biblical commandments, they are Abrahamic, they are this, they are that, they are historical documents, they are not relevant today. See, all these arguments comes because of lack of understanding about what the themselves are saying about what they are. So that is what this book highlights. And if it is asked whether there is a precedence of such focused work on only the four verses, we do have it in Vedanta tradition. For example, the Badarayana's Brahma Sutra has more than 500 sutras, but there is a tradition to study only the opening four sutras. It's called Chatuh Sutri Brahma Sutra. Chatuh Sutri means four verses. Similarly, in the Bhakti tradition, only the first four verses of Bhagavata Purana is studied. Chatuh Shloki Bhagavatam, it is called. So I want to do something like that for Dharmaśāstra. So that is how this book came out, Chatuh Shloki Manusmriti. And I might add that in this book, apart from this, there are introductory chapters which highlight about the place and function of Dharmaśāstra in Hindu worldview, how to decode the Dharmaśāstra text, certain ideas needed to understand this text. I have also addressed questions such as the historicity, what is the source of this Dharmaśāstras, how old it is, or how to understand the question of authorship, understand the question of transmission, and such questions. And there's also a long chapter in the appendix on the controversial topic of Varna, wherein which is often we have this whole debate about what is caste, what is jati, what is varna. So the varna is a shastriya concept, that is, it is a term. It is not a sociological term. It is a shastriya term uh, that are mentioned in the Shastras, in the Vedas, in the Puranas, in the Smritis, etc. So we have to understand what the Shastras themselves say. So this is a Shastriya perspective, a multi-dimensional understanding of what Varna is, that I have attempted to best of my ability in the book. These are a brief. I think it was not a brief elaboration. It was much longer elaboration on the works that I have written till now.
No, it's good you explained all your main topics. Now I think I can, discuss about this book. So you have totally, like Chatuh Shloki Manusmriti, you have said that you have picked four shlokas, just taking reference from the Bhagavad Chatuh Shlok Bhagavad. So, Manusmriti is more criticized for mainly, like you have already mentioned, this Varn system and patriarchy and upper caste dominance in the society. But on the other side, when somebody asks, ki, "Do you have you read Manusmriti or do you remember even one shlok?" Then only one shlok comes out, ki "Yatra nari pujyante tatra ramyante devata." So whoever side the person is, left, right, center, they have only known this only one shlok from Manusmriti. So through your book, how people will understand and how these myths will be debunked on Manusmriti. What actually Manusmriti is and how it is useful for the society.
Because we do not have a proper understanding of what is dharma, and today we end up saying whatever I think is dharma has becomes dharma for a person. So whatever I don't like, it becomes adharma. Whatever I like becomes dharma. So it is all about whims and fancies of the individual. So, but unfortunately, such a discourse is completely misleading, and it is of no utility. If 10 people are in a room and all 10 people have their own opinion on dharma, then, or an opinion any subject matter. There can never be any uh, sure footing, firm foundation of it. I mentioned that in Western philosophy, I found that it is all about different philosophers' intellectual gymnasium, so to speak, to try to unravel the mysteries of the universe. As genuine or as great that such efforts are, ultimately there is no firm footing, but we have firm footing in our Shastra Pramana. Same is the case in Dharmaśāstra. The basis is in the Vedas, the basis is in the Smritis. So there is a wonderful verse in Manusmriti which says the the Vedas are called the Shrutis and the Smritis are called as Dharmaśāstra. These two are not to be discarded, they are not to be sidelined using using misleading arguments, because they are like the eyes, they are like the sun, they are through which the light of dharma shows forth. So they are the sources from which dharma can be known. So there is a sure footing here. So the question is, do we really want to study dharma? Do we want to understand what the text is saying, or do we want to superimpose whatever we think the text is saying? So the part of the problem, of course, is also the fact that these are all highly technical works. Just like if a common person not trained in physics simply opens up a quantum mechanics textbook, he may not make much sense of it. Or rather, if there are some illustrations and examples in the textbook, he may completely misinterpret them, or even may take offense out of it. So that is not the really the problem of the book, rather than the untrained mind, right? So like this, I mean, another example I have heard Dharmacharya's give is, somebody heard of the story about Yagyavalkya's discussion in the that appears in the Upanishad. He had two wives, Maitreyi and another wife, and he wanted to take sannyasa and all those things. So after the whole discussion, that person was able to caught hold of only one point of that of interest to him, was the fact that the Yagyavalkya had two wives. So his question was, since Yagyavalkya had two wives, I am thinking I should also marry another woman. So have a second marriage. So these are all slight exaggerations, but unfortunately, that is what something which has happened with Manusmriti and other Smritis. There are definitely portions which appear problematic to us because we have been trained to look at things certain way, we have been trained to think in certain way, and certain realities of the world today, the way the society is, makes it impossible to grasp certain ideas or certain tenets these Smriti's texts, no doubt about it. But this in itself does not make the Smritis outdated or patriarchal or some form of a monster that they are made of. There is a method to understand these texts because, as I said, they are technical works. They have to be understood. Their technical language, their usage of certain phrases, their usage of certain illustrations, they have to be understood. One example I'll give you is, there is what is called as Arthavada in the Mimamsa method of interpretation.
Arthavad.
Arthavada, right? So in Mimamsa, they divide the Vedic sentences into different categories. There is a Vidivakya, which is a statement of injunction, such as, for example, Sargakama Yajeta. If you want to attain heaven, perform this yajna. So this is a kind of an order, injunction. So if you want to do this, you have to perform this. So that is called as Vidivakya. And then there are do statements. Then there are Nisheda Vakyas, which are don't statements. Don't do this. Don't eat this. Don't perform this. Don't, such as don't kill a person. That is a Nisheda Vakya. Similarly, there are statements such as Arthavadas, basically, which are neither injunction nor a prohibition, but a statement sometimes which praise something. The stuti, it's called stuti arthavada or ninda arthavada, which is depreciating something. So there are statements such as these statements are very much used in text, Smriti texts. For example, at one place in the first chapter, Manusmriti says that the whole world belongs to a Brahmana, and therefore he is very shrestha. It all belongs to a Brahmana. Now people have taken it literally and have thought that, oh, see how discriminative it is. But here it is merely Arthavada statement, that is, it is not to be taken literally. It is merely stuti. The purpose of the stuti is to induce upon the Brahmana audience, of the Brahmana readers of the text, of the students of the text, to take their own responsibility seriously. It is not a literal statement. Throughout history, you don't see that any one community as owning all the land. For example, if you take it as literal meaning, that should be the literal meaning, right? But no one community owns all the land. Rather, the Brahmanas in the text themselves say that they should live a life of poverty. That is the ideal life given for a Brahmana, that they should live uh, in a near poverty zone, right? So the point there is simply it is a Arthavada and it is a Stuti. It is a Stuti, it is not to be taken literally. Similarly, there are many Ninda Vachaka, that is, oh, this is bad, this is wrong, this is not correct, or this is inferior. So these are to be taken not in an absolute sense. These are not to be taken as a moral judgment on any person or any group or anybody who feels that that description is to them. No. The technical meaning is that there is a in vidhi or a nisheda which is to be inferred from them. Certain activity is considered not good for the beneficial for a particular person. So there a certain ninda vakyas are given. So these are technical language. I just gave you one example. There are many others similar aspects. There are certain aspects of the Smritis where the it pertains to drishtartha, that is the what we can see, the results in the world. So the arthakama aspects. In there, the Smitikaras themselves accept that the word of the text is not final. They are only a guideline. There can be many changes according to the times of the place and time we are living. But there are other aspects of the Smritis which are adrushta, such as Swarga, Papa, Punya. These are all eternal. This will always be valid. And they do not change with changing political scenario or changing social scenarios. So these are the nuances needed to understand and properly interpret the Smriti text or the Dharmaśāstra. See, Shastra, when the term Shastra is used, any Shastra, not just Dharmaśāstra, it could be Vedanta Shastra, it could be Ayurveda Shastra, or it could be Dhanurveda Shastra, whatever it is. When you use the term Shastra, it means a technical treatise. In contemporary language, you can even call it a scientific treatise. So that means you need such technical training to understand. So many people say that people have Bhagavad Gita at home, they don't have Manusmriti at home, therefore Manusmriti is not relevant to us today. But this is a problematic aspect. First, there is a fallacy here. Even 100, 150 years back, the Hindu homes did not have even Bhagavad Gita. It was only in the last 150 years that because of efforts of our Dharmacharyas, be it Swami Chinmayananda or be it our traditional Dharmacharyas such as the Shankaracharyas of Shringeri Peetham or Kanchi Peetham or any other Peetham. See, all of them have put in efforts to ensure that Bhagavad Gita has reached homes. There is Gita Yagya happening everywhere across India, all throughout the year. So these are the efforts of very recent efforts. But that does not mean that before 100 years Bhagavad Gita had no value. Similarly, that does not mean that Just because people don't have that book at home, the Smriti Shastras were never meant to be at everybody's home. They're technical treatises. They are studied by technical scholars, the Shastra scholars. But their knowledge is then disseminated through common audience, to lay audience, to non-technical, non-scholarly audience, through the Itihasa Puranas, through Natakas, through Stotras, and through other folk songs and other methods. I will give one simple example. In our day-to-day life, when we go out of the house, we never say जा रहा हूँ जा रही हूँ I am going out. We always say I'll go and come.
Ata.
In Kannada we say hope bartivi. We never say only hope TV. And I did a Twitter thread recently, and the responses I got showed that from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Gujarat to Bengal, every state, every language, most languages have the same structure. And you know where you find the same structure? It is in Ramayana.
Okay.
In the same Ramayana, the Kausalya, etc., tells Bhagavan Ram when he's going for Vanavasa, go and come back. Most would not have known that Ramayana mentions this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So everybody, you said yourself, Yatra Naristu Pujyante. This is a very, very important verse from Manusmriti. Many people quote this verse, they don't know that it is from Manusmriti.
Okay.
There are similar verses, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha, and Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat, speaks truth, speak pleasant. All these are from Manusmriti.
Again, I would like to have a small understanding about your first book, which you have mentioned, Menstruation Across Cultures. So, I mean, is it about Sabrimala that women are debarred because of menstruation or menstruation period? And what you have, explained or mentioned in this, I mean, across cultures, what does it mean? I mean, does it mean ki all women are debarred in one or another culture because of menstruation, or what?
See, what the book does is it studies in detail the views on menstruation that is prevalent in various religions and cultures. So there is a chapter on Hindu views, chapter on Jainism, on Buddhism, on Judaism, on Christianity, on Islam. There is a chapter on Greek civilization, Roman civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization.
Okay.
There is a chapter on tribal communities in Northern America, tribal communities in Southern America, tribal communities in Africa,
Right.
tribal communities in Australia. So it is a very comprehensive study and also a comparative study. And two things becomes very, very much visible is there is of course a notion of ritual impurity associated with menstruation across the world. But what is interesting is that in Abrahamic religions, that is, especially in Christianity and Islam, this notion of ritual impurity becomes reformulated as a notion of moral degradedness,
Okay.
a notion of sinfulness. So today, when the very word impurity is used, the people intuitively understand it as a moral judgment, as calling somebody as sinful or moral degrading or inferior. But this definition has Abrahamic in origin. In polytheistic systems, be it Greek or Rome or Egyptian, or in our Hindu Dharma uses the term ashaucha. It is again a technical term. It has zero moral connotation. It is not looking down upon women as inferior. When we call ritual impurity, because of which certain practices have been there, such as a little temporary separation, not going to temples, not performing puja during periods, all have their basis in understanding about what happens to our subtle body, to our sukshma sharira during menstruation. Right? There is a increased state of rajas. It is hence menstruation in Sanskrit is called as rajas shrava, the flow of rajas. There is a flow of blood at a physical level, but there is also flow of heightened condition of rajasic energy at the pranic level.
Well,
There is a rajoguna, heightened condition of rajoguna at the manasika level. If you want to do a puja, then you have to be in a sattvika mental framework. Your body has to be sattva pradhana.
now, I would
But
like to
during
stop you here, and I would say that the same term has been mentioned in Mahabharata when Draupadi Cheer Haran was happening. So she mentioned that I was Rajaswala that time. She was menstruating, and
exactly,
it was not demeaning. She was just staying separately in a separate room with plain clothes. And she mentions that that time women should not be, asked to come into the courtyard. Very true.
but it is very interesting that Draupadi considered it insulting and demeaning to be asked to come to the assembly during her periods.
Hmm.
Now the narrative is having women their me space during periods is demeaning.
Hmm.
See how there is a head-on turn in the narrative.
Yeah,
So we have to these nuances are dealt with in the book. The explanations from a Dharmaśāstra perspective, from a Vedic perspective, from Ayurvedic perspective, from a Tantra perspective, from a Yoga perspective is given to explain different menstruation related practices prevalent in different communities, prevalent that our own grandmothers used to practice, some of the practices which are still prevalent today, why it is there, what is the rationale behind it. See, all these are dealt in that book in quite depth.
and I think you would have
So
mentioned the Kamakhya temple as well in this.
yes, yes. There is a section on Kamakya temple. There is a section on there is a festivals related to menstruation, such as
Exactly.
Harachandi festival in Odisha, Keddasa festival in Karnataka, and other places. There is also a section on Rajaswala Ritu Samskara. Just like there is other samskaras such as Upanayana and etc. for boys, there is a Ritukala Samskara for girls when the puberty happens.
Hmm.
So this samskara was at one time widely practiced across Indian geography from top to bottom,
Yeah.
everywhere. But currently, in the last 100 years, in the 200 years, the practice has vanished. But it still exists in southern India, in the southern states,
Hmm.
and in some eastern states.
Yes.
There is a section on that also. Menstruation as a sacred celebration. So there is a section with this title. So it is a very detailed study, and I am sure any woman, any young girl uh, who has doubts about menstruation, misgivings about Hindu practices, should study this book. You don't need to approach this book with any kind of preconceived notions or any kind of faith or any compulsion to accept whatever it is saying, but only with open heartedness and open mindedness to try to understand what our practice is with a sincerity, and I'm sure people will benefit
I
from it.
would say that in fact, men and boys should read this book. They they
Definitely,
are
definitely.
more required to understand this. I too have daughters, and still in today's time, I see how they see reaction of boys in schools, and even men. Even I would say many men, they try to avoid the topic or the words. It's like a taboo if somebody says you're having a period. No, they would say, oh, I think तबीयत खराब है 3-4 दिन के लिए और तबीयत सही नहीं हो रही है और not well, feel not, they want to avoid. So I think men and boys, they more need to understand and read this book. That will be helpful for the society.
This calling menstruation as an illness
Hmm.
in colloquial language, they are not in for 3 days or they are not well. This was present even in the Mesopotamian civilization.
Okay.
So this is uh, these code words
Mhm.
uh, for certain aspects. They came about not really. They do not actually indicate shamefulness or negativity per se, but rather uh, about giving space for women to have a personal space for a phenomenon which is very very intimate to them,
Mhm.
right? So this is how my study has revealed it. But of course we are living at a time wherein um, certain nuances have been lost, and rather they have been misinterpreted in a very completely different manner, as a result of which there is a great need to speak openly
Yeah.
and speak to set the record straight. So that is how this book also came about, to set the record straight, I would say.
So it's being a long discussion, and it was very interesting discussion, and I think we can go on and on for on discussing these topics. These are really good, and you have picked up. I mean, I would wanted to say this earlier, that you have picked up two different topics: menstruation, which is supporting. I mean, we can say a pro woman subject, pro woman topic, where with this you try to break this taboo, and then Manusmriti, which is pro upper caste or pro matriarchal society. So you have tried to balance through these two different books. It's really a wonderful collection which you have written. And first of all, I would congratulate you to write these deep subjects and bring forth in the public to understand these subjects. It's really highly required for the public.
I just wanted to show the audience my latest book,
Okay.
the Chatuh Shloki Manusmriti.
Very.
If just to have the visual effect
Yeah.
of the book, yes.
Okay, Nitinji. So we'll come to our next section, which is very quick questions. Some about your. I mean, you have already mentioned a lot, and I think my most of the questions will be caused because you have mostly answered. But still, I would say, first of all, how many books you may have read as of now, total estimated.
Uh, Reading, I think it would be very difficult to put a number because I have read a lot of books. Many of them maybe in full, but many of them also in sections and portions, particular chapters. I'm not sure I can
200,
really.
500, 1,000.
Uh, nah, it will not be 1000 definitely. I definitely have 1000 books at home,
Okay.
but I have not read all of them. But I would say that I have touched upon more than 50% of them. Maybe more than 70% of them I have touched upon, and I have read a sufficient portions of them, perhaps maybe more than 100 books or 150, 200 books. I've read a particular few chapters or something like that. But the number of books I have read cover to cover would be much less, I would say. Perhaps it will be within 100 and maybe some 50, 60 books, or perhaps I'm not sure. Again, I don't have a number
Yeah. So
on
it is,
this.
I mean, what you have said, I think I have seen this in many authors and many readers who love to read books. They used to collect lot of books, and their I mean, as you said, cover to cover are lesser number, but it is always good. I mean, even I like it. I mean, on one subject like astrology, I have 10 books. On Ramayana, I may have 20 books. So I mean, I know the more major story would be same, but somewhere in one page or two pages it would be different. So I would like to go through those pages. So I mean, definitely, I mean, but it doesn't matter we read every book cover to cover, but once we have a good collection, it gives you different perspectives. So yeah, very good. Next will be we know your total number of books you have published. I think four or five.
It's actually seven,
Seven.
and also another book chapter. So seven plus one, you could say. Yeah.
Okay. Pilgrimages, if I talk, how many you would have done?
Uh, I can just count. I frequently visit Sringeri in Karnataka. which is a seat of Sharda Parameshwari, as well as the Dakshina Amnaya Shringeri Sharda Peetham, the South Center, uh, founded by Shankaracharya. And I have visited within Karnataka, Hornadu, Kolluru. There are some places in Bangalore, and I live in, of course, in Mysuru. It's also a pilgrimage center. It's also a Tirtha Sthala. We have Chamundi Temple and other places. In my family deity is in Belur in Hassan, so those places I regularly go. I have visited Warangal, Bhadrakali temple. I have visited few places in Tamil Nadu, including Madurai Meenakshi temple, and I think in Chennai, a few temples in Chennai I have visited. Few in Coimbatore. I don't remember all
So
the
quite
names of
number,
these
a
places.
large number in South India.
Yes, but in north also, and I have visited very good Ganapati temples in Pune, and Mahalakshmi temple in Mumbai, and Siddhivinayak in Mumbai. In I have visited amongst Jyotirlingas. I have visited Nageshwar, as well as and I visited Somnath, Nageshwar in Gujarat, as well as Dwarka and Bet Dwarka. All four of them when I was in Gujarat, I visited there. And when I was working in Odisha, I had visited Puri, Jagannath, and wonderful temples in Konark and in Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar has many wonderful temples,
It's a city of
and
rivers.
yes, so in the north, I have visited very old temples in Bhopal, near Vidisha and all, and Rishikesh and Haridwar. I have very fond memories in Rishikesh, and some old temples in and near Kanpur.
Okay.
There are some very old places in near Kanpur, and so I have visited those places also.
Okay.
I think this pretty much sums up
Quite a
the.
big number of temples, I would say. So, any your next planning with where you want to go and still not able to visit?
I don't know where, but I definitely want. There are certain places that I definitely want to go. That includes all the Ashtavinayakas in and around Pune. I have visited only one or two, and I want to visit, if possible, if when happens, Kamakya, Triambakeshwar, perhaps even Tarapit, if the mother calls, and even in south also some Rameshwaram. Yeah, I forgot. I have also visited Arunachala. Just I think a year or two back, I visited there, Tirunelveli, where Arunachaleshwara is there. So yeah, so these are some of the to visit. I have visited Kolkata also. I have visited Kalighat.
Okay. So, when we ask about temples, na, generally people say ki Shakti Peeth, I want to visit all the Shakti Peeth, I want to visit, Panch Kedar, or I want to visit all the Jyotirlings. But you have mentioned first time about Ashtavinayak. I want to visit all the Ashtavinayaks. I think people maybe know lesser about Ashtavinayak Parikrama as well. So, any one text which you would say that every Hindu must read?
Uh, Again, this is a very difficult question. I think I would say perhaps Valmiki Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita. I think these are the texts everybody should read. Valmiki Ramayana because uh, there is a lot of values that can be learned. It helps in anchoring our life. So it is like a north pole which is always pointing towards the ideal way that we have to live. Our life situations may not always allow us to choose options which are ideal. We may not have the samarthya to choose those right options,
Hmm.
but it is always good to have an anchorage.
Hmm.
Then at least in the life choices that gives us, which is mostly different shades of gray, we can choose one which is closer to white rather than closer to black. So for that also we need to know what is the whitest option there, and that is what Bhagavan Rama teaches in Ramayana. So that is how why I feel Valmiki Ramayana is one text. But of course, Mahabharata also I would add, because Mahabharata is a lifelong engagement, and it sharpens the mind. It puts us in dilemma.
Hmm.
It helps us to resolve dilemma, to get out of, to where to make compromises, where to use chala, where to use various methods. So that is also good. Uh, Bhagavad Gita, of course. So I am not taking one answer, but many answers. So Bhagavad Gita, of course, is very, very important because it has something for everybody.
Yes.
It has something to guide everybody. As Bhagavan Bhashyakara Shri Adi Shankaracharya himself says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram.
Hmm.
So every day read even at least one verse of Bhagavad Gita, chant name from the Sahasranama.
Hmm.
So, so that is what I believe. I think we must all take very seriously.
I would say that when you mentioned Mahabharata, I mean Mahabharata is also a book text. I mean I would say that most people don't want to keep at home, because this was also a notion ki if you keep Mahabharata at home, then your home will be Mahabharata, will turn into
But I think but this does not appear in Mahabharata itself. Rather, this is a kind of a superstitious belief for somehow took root in Hindu society, and many traditional acharyas also opine this, that there is no basis to this idea that we should not have Mahabharata
yeah,
at
but
home.
this notion was very much deep, in the family. I'm not sure about South India, but in at least from the my mother's age of women ladies, they generally used to say, रामायण पढ़ो, गीता पढ़ो, महाभारत घर में मत रखो, लेके भी मत
Yeah,
रखो.
I have heard some people in even in South India mention this, but from my research, from my understanding, there is no Shastriya basis to this.
No.
This is more, I think, because of complicated nature of Mahabharata, there was some kind of fear or some this fear was manifested out of some certain inhibitions is what I could
I
speculate.
believe this could be a leftist ideology, because whenever you read Mahabharata, whoever has read Mahabharata, he will never agree to this.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, there is so much material in Mahabharata. We have famous commentaries on Mahabharata. If people would not study it, why would they write commentaries, right? And it's not just commentaries were written today. Nilkanta Dikshita, who wrote the commentary, I think existed few hundred years back, few centuries back. So why would he write a commentary if nobody is studying the text, right? So I think this is more about some folk belief or some colloquial beliefs that simply just like you should stop, you should not go forward if a cat crosses the street.
Hmm.
So such form of beliefs, it has no basis. This is also something like that is what I think personally.
Very great. So, Nitinji, we will come to our final question, and I would request you to give a message to our Hindus across the world and people who are seeking deeper meaning and dharmic roots. So, what would be your last? For this episode, your message for the people.
I think my message is begin somewhere, start somewhere. Rather than thinking where to start, what to do, how to go about, is it right, is this path right, is that path right? It is always better to start somewhere, and if nothing comes to mind what to do, then you can simply start with a simple worship of our devatas, because at the heart of Hindu Dharma, at the heart of what we are, is our devatas. So the what makes a Hindu? There can be many different answers. There can be an academic answer. There can be a Shastriya answer. But if I have to pick one, then I think a message for everybody would be it is what makes a Hindu is our devatas, is our connection to the devatas that we build. So you start somewhere. If you have to start somewhere, if you don't know anything, worship Ganapati. He is Vigya Harta. So he will show the path. Start with such worship. Do the stuti stotra of Ganapati or do the stuti stotra of any deities that appeal to you. Make a start there. Pick up any text. It could be something like Bhagavad Gita or Valmiki Ramayana. Everybody knows about Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas. You just pick up, start reading, start reflecting. You don't read it to finish the book. It is not a novel that you will finish in 10 days and keep it aside. No, read it slow and reflect upon it. That is how you have to read it. Read, reflect, reread and all. So then slowly things will open up, because as I see it, to lead a life of a Hindu in a meaningful way, to anchor ourselves in Hindu life, there could be perhaps four pillars, I would say, is Shraddha, Sadachara, Sadhana, Swadhyaya. So Shraddha means having conviction, faith and trust in our devatas, in our gurus and in our Shastras, the Smritis, Vedas, Itihasa, Purana as an authentic source of knowledge. That leads to Swadhyaya, which is engagement with these sources of knowledge, engagement with teachers, with gurus, with our text, and trying to gain knowledge, whatever is relevant to us, however much ever is it possible for us to gain at a particular stage in our life. That is Swadhyaya. And then implement it through sadhana and sadachara. Sadachara means leading a ethical life, leading a dharma pragya life. That is, I have to be aware of my responsibilities, try to do my best to help others, to do my duties, and lead a happy life. And sadhana, a focused effort towards spiritual path, focused effort towards attaining Bhagwan's bhakti, anugraha, jnana. It could be any sadhana, any path. So I believe we all have to work in one way or the other way into these four categories to make our lives meaningful. But you can start anywhere. So starting is the important. Then the rest will, the Ishvara will guide one in some or the other.
What a great message, and I think you have solved a lot of people's dilemma that if I have purchased a book, I have to finish it. At least now people can buy and okay, I will read one chapter or one page and I will keep it and I will be content. No, it is not required to go cover to cover. Very
See, buying the books also helps the authors. See, read it or not, reading helps the individual,
definitely,
but buying helps the authors.
definitely. Yeah, that's required definitely. So Nitinji, very very thank you. You have given your time and your whole learning and experience in this interview, and we have seen that the topics which you have picked, they are really very much required for the society. So I would thank you very much for coming for this podcast and sharing your views. Your tireless service through writing, research, and Vedantic clarity is a true offering to at the feet of Sanatan Dharm. So, dear Bhakts, thank you very much for watching this podcast. And if you like it, please share, subscribe, and like, and discuss with others as well. And we will come back again with another Bhakt like Nitinji, and who has done some other service to Sanatan Dharma, and they selflessly they are serving the nation. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you very much.